Well, Kenmore is the liveliest village on the coast, population 20, and I'm just in time to get out and see the fish being fed in the farm. In the old fishing days, when herrings were plentiful here, it was common for local folk to take 100 crans in a day and sell them to schooners who called to buy them. But these days are long over, so fish farming seems logical. John Cameron is paid to feed the fish, and the young salmon are waiting to jump. Something will happen now then, John.
Oh yes. You'll see them all in the surface. There they are.
Oh, there they are, right. Oh, by Joe.
4,000 of them. They've been in the salt water about 6 weeks. Before that, for possibly a year, they've been in fresh water. There's a change of life for them now.
And how often do you feed them?
6 times a day.
Is this the first feed today?
No, this is their third. I feed them about 9:30 at night. That's their last feed. That's when they feed best for some reason.
So it's quite a tying job then.
Oh, it's quite tying. You have to be about all the time, but I only do one weekend every 6, so it's not too bad. Some of the other boys, they do the weekends in between.
You're the only employee of the Kenmore Cooperative Fish Farm.
That's right, aye.
And you're also something of a crofter as well.
Yes, I've got sheep and cattle as well.
That's great. You were born here?
I was born here, yeah. I've been here all my life except 3 years, which I was working in Inverness. My father had a fishing boat, I was on it.
I see.
After I left school for 3 years.
Is it nice to be back?
Oh, aye, definitely. Yeah, it hasn't changed, except we've got a road now.
So that's the life that would suit you?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Great. Well, let's see them jump again, a few more fish.
We're quite hungry.
Let's see that.
We just feed them until they stop coming up for it, until they take off, and then they've had enough.
Well, the well-fed fish should be ready for sale as fair-sized salmon in about 14 months, if all goes well. Another new industry is restoring the old crofts, and Mr. Galanders, the local builder in Arena, finds work right on his doorstep. But he would be happier if young folk could compete with the high prices offered by retired folk. They pay for everything that comes in the market, even the old school. He would rather see young folk able to work the land and fish the sea, take over and aim at self-sufficiency. The crofters have always practiced a kind of communism, coming together for essential tasks such as gathering and dipping the sheep. Big job, because this is one of the biggest areas in Scotland, one of the roughest too, with its own problems, being so far from the market. But the land is good. How many villages are represented in this crowd of men here today?
5.
5 different villages?
Yes.
Oh, well, it's grand when you can just muck in and get
we
the
work
job
together.
done.
We work together as a team.
Donald McCoose, you're a fisherman crofter. One time, anyway, working the roads.
That's right. I work on the roads now, and I do crofting as a part-time.
And I would like to know if you think you'll get a good price for that wool.
Well, no. We won't get a good price for it because we got as much for our wool about 10 years ago as we do now. It's a poor price we get for our wool.
But you'll maybe get more for the mutton when you come to sell the sheep in the autumn, eh?
Well, we get a bit more for our sheep now since we crossed them from blackface to Chilean. But still, the market value is not that high either.
The word Applecross is really derived from Apper, an estuary, and Crossan, a river crossing. But over there is an island called Elan and Ave, and it means a holy island. And the holy man in this case is St. Milrua, who came here in the year 673 to found a church here and several others. Unlike the Torridon coast of Applecross, this south part of Applecross is really Hebridean in atmosphere. And just out beyond the holy island of St Milrua, we're looking to the Hebrides. That's the island of Razzie, right behind it. And just to the left, the hills of Skye. A wee bit further to the north, the island of Rona. And when St Milrua, I imagine, did a recce from the island, he decided on the perfect site for his monastic huts and church, just round the corner from that wee settlement where the river comes in, the mouth of the river. And the hills above, the pass, that's the Belechnamboe Pass, which rises to 2,000 feet. And except by sea, that was the only route into Applecross until the road round from Torridon was built. This river is still known locally as the Crossing, from which Applecross takes its name. And although the saint landed on the island further down the coast in a wonderfully sheltered bay, this is not quite so sheltered. It was a marvellous place for settlement. The reason being, not only is it flat, but it's also in an area of limestone, which must have been very good for crops. And the monastic huts and the kirk was supposed to be built on that side. Indeed, amongst the coniferous woods, you can see the roof of a chapel, and it's reckoned that's where St Milrua founded his chapel. And there's some stones there that are said to be the ruin, which could be the original foundation. After St Milrua came here, it became known as Comarach, meaning sanctuary. St Milrua was here for 50 years as abbot. He established other churches, but this is where he lived. Eventually was missionising in Sutherland, died and was brought back here to be buried. And these two rounded stones mark his grave. And behind me here, we don't know the age of these stones, but we do know that during the 9th and 10th centuries, the Vikings raided this place, destroyed it, so this is probably a later kirk, but going back a very, very long way. A very strange thing. I was talking to a local man, an old man, about the sanctuary. And a sanctuary in these days really meant a place where anybody who entered it was safe. And an area around here, an area of 6 miles, was regarded as a refuge. Even if you were a criminal escaping the law, you could stay inside here safe. And what emerged from that story was, this man said to me, "Did you ever hear about Hare being here?" I said, "Who?" He said, "Birkin Hare, one of the body snatchers, Hare, came here after he turned King's evidence. And he became a weaver. He married a local girl and died a respectable man." And that goes against the story of Birkin Hare, because Hare is supposed to have died a blind beggar in London. But if, in fact, he did settle here as a weaver, then it's strange how the sanctuary story should repeat itself. In here I'm looking for a cross said to be right back to Milrua himself. St Milrua was descended from an Irish king, but this fragment of his cross is all that remains to tell of his fame, which was second only to St Columba. Applecross is really an estate village which owes its origin to the Victorian Deer Forest era, and the Applecross Peninsula was one of the largest estates in Scotland, divided between two owners who wanted privacy, so they were happy for sporting reasons to have no easy access to the outside world. The steep